Alright, this is my after the gym. I need to take my hair out because it's just out of control. Pretty Little Liars update. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have this by you, but we get this thing in the winter time for about 6 or 7 weeks that we get a free iced coffee. Although I got one yesterday too. On Monday, so I'm enjoying mine with a little bit of skim and just a tiny bit of sugar. I'm gonna put my own creamer in it, but anyways. Iced coffee is the way to go. So I finally watched Pretty Little Liars. I finally was able to get my parents' login to watch on ABC Family. I watched it yesterday. Honestly, after I watched the 2 episodes, I was just like, okay. I didn't feel like I missed a lot. I know a lot of people said they really liked it, but so first one, Through a Glass Darkly. It's 3 months later, and just as an aside, when I put in Through a Glass Darkly into Google, it's actually a Swedish film where there's 4 family members that all act as mirrors for each other. So they're all like, I guess they're all different parts of one person. And I started thinking, oh my god, are the 4 girls like a personality of Allie? Like, is it going to end up being something crazy like that? Like, then all of a sudden we end and we're in Radley and she's talking to Ren, and I don't know. I started thinking, what the heck? And then that was 4 people and 4. So we see Mona's room. We notice there's a ton of dolls in there, which I noticed right away. And there was that one creepy glass-faced doll that was in a scene a long time ago. We find out why Spencer was charged with murder, that she was seen with a young girl in Allie's clothes, and Mrs. De Laurentiis is the one that said that, which is funny because we know that she ended up burying Allie, and she pretty much set Spencer up, which is crazy because that's her, you know, Jason's father's daughter, so it's actually her son's half-sister, you know, it's their it's just crazy. I put, why is Ezra so concerned about Mike? It was really strange how concerned he was about Mike. Am I just the only one? And Mike is convinced, like, part of Ezra thinks, you know, he said something about, why do you think she's gone? Like, does Ezra know something? Like, is Mona not really gone? And that whole thing was really sketch, and it made me start thinking all of a sudden, oh my god, Ezra, maybe he really is creepy and bad. I put, why does Arya look psycho when her and Allie were talking when she was just staring off and like, she was having like a psychotic moment. And it's not just random that she had that moment. She was going through a lot of emotional things this time. I think we really started to see her crazy side, Arya's crazy side, this episode. We find out that Mona's DNA was in Allie's trunk. Then we see the Grunwald. Oh, I love Grunwald. I love Grunwald. So she's like, they hated each other, Mona and Allie, because they feared each other, because they knew something about the other. Of course, you know. I thought that was really interesting. It also was sad, like, because they say Mona's, like, stuck in between. And we know that because she was hunting Allie. But that was really creepy. I don't know. It kind of didn't fit the rest of the show when they throw in those creepy elements into it. And then this, like, the rest of the show is just, oh, we're going to school. It's really strange to me. Like, I can't adjust. You know, Allie's convinced that she's being framed by the girls. They think that she killed Bethany Young, too. We find out there's cameras in Mona's vents, and that's how they see a blonde girl killing Mona. Obviously, to me, it's somebody wearing, you know, we saw, sorry, my nose is so itchy, a wig. Then the book that Mona is reading, or they do the flashback, The Terminations by Henry James, and she talks about it, and then Mrs. Vanderwell gives it to Hannah. I looked that up as well, and it actually was quite touching. The book Terminations is about sadness of losing something. And it talks about how to deal with death. And the story talked about how Henry James dealt with death in his own life. And I think it's a very telling, for that scene, it was very touching when I realized what the book was about. It was like a way to help Hannah deal with Mona's death if she's really gone. And also that book and the fact that Mona read it, they were constantly dealing with death this whole all 5 seasons. So it kind of made it like a real element if you knew what that book was about. And I love when they do that on the show with the different movies or the different books and the stuff, when they kind of pull those things into it. I really enjoy that. So that was really touching to me. The A-Team takes the computer. Okay. So then we see Arya. She goes to the place, which to me, is it crazy that all of a sudden it looks like that and then the next day it looks perfect? Okay. And then, I'm sorry, but did that not look like a setup? First of all, Arya talking to Caleb and trying to learn stuff. She was acting stupid and playing off. It made me very suspicious of Arya as well as Ezra this episode, because all of a sudden then she has a computer and then all of a sudden somebody comes in and her scared face and she didn't really try to fight back and she's just like, don't do it. It was terrible. Lucy Hale never acts that bad. It seemed like a setup. It seemed like a setup to be like, whether Kayla, is Kayla part of the A-Team? She gave it to her and then you want to take it away and he didn't want her to know, or did he teach her the wrong things, or is it Ezra knew that she had it and then he did it, or was it Mike because she was there to get Mike and then all of a sudden he disappears and we don't even talk about it. So it was crazy. So I think, from the whole episode, it's obvious A is not Allison, okay? And then we go into Fresh Meat, which I was confused at the time element again. I can't figure out, how far away, the time spans for all of this is confusing the hell out of me. This episode annoyed the hell out of me. So then, Toby finds the knife, and then at first I was like, why is he not telling them? And then I realized, oh my God, he realized it was his father's knife. And it's true. I mean, A could put prints on something, and it happens all the time. So it's actually very smart, but he's risking his job. Then we find out, Arya thinks that she's getting kept from college because of Jackie. And, then later they meet and they're nice, and it was just strange. Caleb tells Spencer, he's been charged with murder before. And they're kind of following the whole Holbrook and Allie kind of thing. Holbrook's on temporary leave taking care of his father, but then Hannah goes there and then he's not there. And then the father actually thought she was Allie because she said, well, you should know where he is more than anything. Didn't she just get out of jail or something? And then I was like, what? I was so lost by that. And then Caleb was locked inside the incinerator. And then that to me also seemed like a setup. These last 2 episodes, I've been very suspicious of Caleb. Very, very. And I feel like ever since he came back. Because, that happened with the computer and then helping Arya. And then all of a sudden, the computer's taken away. And then he's working with Spencer, and then all of a sudden he's locked into the incinerator, and she didn't see anyone, and this and that, and then he knew she was going to come back. So if he just got himself locked in there or had somebody do that, then it makes it look like he's not part of the A-Team or he's not part of the bad team, so then Spencer will trust him even more. That's the way I saw it. And if Spencer trusts him, then Toby will trust him even more, and Toby's a cop. So I don't know if I'm digging too deep into this or not, but I'm starting to be suspicious of Caleb, and when I'm suspicious of Caleb, then I'm also suspicious of Hannah, and I've been suspicious of Hannah since a finale, when all of a sudden, A comes at her, and then no one even sees what happens, and then, she's not even physically hurt. It's when has A never physically hurt somebody? Until this just happened taking the computer. We find out that Ellie was waiting for Cyrus in the missing hours on Thanksgiving, and then he never showed up, and she thinks that A set her up. And she can't explain that, obviously. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if this is just something random, but the fact that a lot of the tenant leases were expired 3 years prior. Like, there's a lot of expired things, and they said, well, maybe she had a verbal agreement. I'm like, who are these tenants? Wilden, Ren, like all these sketchy people that Mrs. D was a part of. So I don't know if that comes into play, but we'll find out. Toby and Spencer's relationship's on the rocks because she's an idiot, because she went back with Caleb to get the murder weapon, and she's just an idiot. Like, she's an idiot. Then, okay. I called this so long ago, and I knew it from the start of this episode, how it was going, how it was working. I knew that Ashley Marin and Jason were going to hook up. I knew it 100%. I knew it. It's creepy. It's strange. She always messes with the weirdest people, the most sketch people, like Wilden, and then now, like, people that she shouldn't mess with, pretty much. So, a part of me is like, why is she really messing with him? Is there something that she doesn't want him to know, or does she want him to trust her for some reason? I still think Grunwald is her mother. I really do. Or something, and that's why Grunwald has such a connection with Hannah, because that's her grandchild. Maybe I'm crazy, but they are cast and they look very similar. And remember we said, that Ashley Marin was adopted. She had foster parents. I'm not going to get into it with Ravenswood because people hate the crossover, but anyways, Allie's in jail. I didn't even mention that. And she's all scared and everything. Toby sees her, and I thought it was so corny. And then at the end, she gets a new uniform, and there's a note in there that says, your friends will see you soon. So I guess somebody else is going to get put in jail for the murder, or the girls are going to jail. Either one. So the way things are going right now, I don't know, maybe I'm just negative. I don't really like where this show's going right now. It's just like, not much is happening. Yeah, Ellie went to jail. Cool. We know she's not going to stay there. When are we going to find out who really killed? When are we going to find out something that really, truly happened, the truth? When? We're just going to sit here and, oh, so-and-so did it. No, she didn't. Now she's planted, so now this and that. And the whole thing with Ezra's new bookstore, coffee, restaurant, cafe, whatever, and then the Paige and Emily thing, I think it's stupid. I'm sorry. And her catering and that. There were so many things that happened, like with Arya not getting in college. If it has to do with A, then great. But there's so many things that happened in this episode and the other episode that's like, who cares? Tell us something. Who killed Mona? Where's Mona? Where's Lucas? Where's Noel? Where's Cece? Where's Ren? Where's Melissa? Where are all these people? Why are we talking about freaking empanadas? Like, why? Am I the only one? Am I the only one that feels this way? So, I will be watching. I have a live stream thing that I can watch it when it's on. If I'm home. I haven't been home on Tuesdays. If not, I'll watch it the next morning and then I will film my thing. But like I said before, and a few of you have agreed with me, I'm just not as obsessed with the show anymore, because it's just like there's so many questions that nothing is getting answered, and we just keep getting more and more questions, and I feel like some of these questions are never going to be answered, and it's just really frustrating because it's like throws a little bit of a bone that we find something else so we can start to try to figure something out. I mean, don't just keep giving us all this stuff. It's like writing a chapter of a book and then never finishing it and starting another one. That's exactly what I feel like this does. Do I feel sorry for Ellie? Absolutely not. The fact that she's in jail, whatever, she is a bad person. She put herself in a situation. Yeah, she was being stalked and this and that, but she was cruel and she was mean and she was a bully. And I'm sorry, but this show is karma. Yeah, her mother should have been killed. Well, you know what? Maybe she should have, because she buried her own daughter, lied about it, hid her daughter, made her run away, and all this stuff. So I think the show is karma. And I think that we're going to find out why all the girls are getting what they're getting too, because they, yeah, of course we know this and that. Also, where the hell is Jenna and where's Sydney? Where are all these people? Like, where are they? Oh God, guys, save me. All right, I'm gonna drink the rest of this and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.